Hey, hi everyone. Guess you guys are okay. So today we are continuing with our practical, where we are going to look at the two types of cell referencing in Excel, relative and absolute self-referencing. Okay. In the first session, I took you through the theory part. I tried to explain uh, what is the difference between the two types of this self-referencing. Which is relative and absolute self-referencing. Okay, but now we are going to apply it. We are going to apply it, or we're going to do some calculations, and then we see how does these two actually differ. Okay. Right. Now, starting off with relative self-referencing. As you said that with self-referencing, relative self-referencing, um, it changes, the values changes. I mean, the referencing changes. Okay, so as you move along the cells, the range of cells. Okay, so let's quickly look at an example. So we are having this list of items here, um, and we need to calculate uh, the differences. I mean, not differences, but the total here. So now to calculate the total, what you need to do is we need to multiply the price, which is this as a unit price, like a price for each of the item. But we are having, or we need 515 items. So what will be our total here? Our total will be uh, $2.99. You multiply it with the quantity, which is now 15, then you get your total. Like the total, the amount of money that be required from you to pay for 15 items if one costs this. Okay. So now with relative cell references, it references the adjacent cells, cells next to it. Okay, like these two. Okay. So now let's quickly do calculations here. When you're doing the calculations, people, it's very important that you start with the equal sign. So you press the equal sign from the keyboard, right? And then you select the value, which is now 2.99 in cell B2. And then since that we are multiplying, you press the multiplication sign on the keyboard. And then you select the other range, the other value, which is 15 in C2. Okay. So once you're done, you press the enter key. So this is the amount of money that you need to pay for 15 beef picadillo. Okay, 15 of them if 1 is to 99. Okay. Now let's go to the next one. The next one is the second row here. This other row here. So we need to multiply this one with this one. Okay. So starting off with multiplication sign first, you select the value, multiply, and then you select the other one, and then you press enter. Okay. But now, if you want to save time, you can use what we call autofill to fill up all these cells here, all the other range of cells with the total. Okay. What you do is you highlight and then you drag it down. No, sorry. Highlight first and then you drag this down. Okay, so this is now the total. Okay, even if you check in the formula here. So here we have multiplied what? B9 with C9, which is this case, B9 and C9, and then we get this value. So, but as you can see, as I am moving along this, can you see that this range of cells are changing, right? Can you see that they're changing? Okay, so they are changing, right? But they are being referenced, like this cell is multiplied with this one, okay? This one with this one. So this is a relative cell reference. It's actually the default type of cell referencing. Now let's go to the next one, which is absolute cell referencing. With cell referencing, absolute cell referencing, what we're going to do is we're going to calculate the value of text, okay? The value of text on this amount that you have paid for your items. So first of all, but now we are given the text rate here, which is 15%. So we are going to deduct 15% from that, 15% from that, from that, okay? And then let's quickly see. Okay. So now to calculate the text, or text rate, or text value, you need to multiply this, the total here, you multiply with the 15%, because this is what is going to be deducted from the 44.85. Okay, so to do that, you type the equal sign. You can either do it this way, you can use this value, or you can just use this 22.99 and 15. You can open bracket and multiplication 15, and then you close the bracket. And then you need to multiply it with the 15%. Okay, then you get your tax rate. So this is what you're going to pay. This is your tax. So from there, they would multiply, they would subtract this from that. So this is what you're going to pay, okay, as tax. Okay, now moving on to the next one. It's equal sign first, open bracket, that value, you multiply it with this one, close bracket, and you need to multiply with the tax rate. Okay, now you can use autofill to do that. Now, if you use the autofill, it has to reference. If you use autofill, it has to reference this cell. Okay, let's see if we'll get some values here. Okay, now if you check there, can you see that this value is changing? This value is changing, but with absolute cell referencing, it should not change. It should just stick here. Because remember in the notes we said this value, it's remained constant, it doesn't change. So it means now in this case, the system is multiplying these cells here. Okay, can you see? So it's multiplying E5. It's using this as your to multiply with your total here as your text, which is wrong. It's wrong. You should not do that. So with absolute referencing, it has to stick to this. So all these values, they have to be multiplied by E1. Okay, but now if you check, it's changing. It's changing. So it means it's still using relative cell referencing. Okay. So to do that, to tell the system that you should reference this 15% everywhere where you are going. You should not change to any other cell. This is where absolute cell referencing comes in. And how do we do it? Okay, what you do is you start with the equal sign, open bracket. Okay, let's use this value. Okay, you select the value, multiply with this value, you close it. Okay, you multiply it. Now you have to tell that this is the cell that you are referencing. Absolute reference. You should absolutely reference this cell. So what you do is to do that, to tell the system that you want to reference this cell. After pressing the multiplication sign, you can either press to insert this as an absolute reference value. Okay, before I do that, let me just quickly explain something. Now, if you want to say this is an absolute, this should be absolutely referenced as you are going along our calculation. So to do that, you should tell the system that this is what you're referencing. So this is E1. So what you do is you divide this a cell name with the the dollar sign. Okay, so what you do is starting off with the dollar sign, and then since that we said it's E1, you say E, and then the dollar sign again, and you put a 1. Okay, so this is how a absolute reference cell should look like. Okay, not the normal one is E1 like that. That is not absolutely referenced. Okay. So if you do it this way, then it will keep changing. It will keep changing like in the other calculation that I showed you. But if you put it in this way, it will just stay here. It will, this value will be referenced no matter how where you put your calculations to. Okay. So let's do a bit of calculations here. Okay. So what you do is you equal sign first, and then open bracket, close the select the value. You multiply it with this value. You close the bracket, and then you multiply again. So we need to insert the dollar sign first, the dollar sign, and the cell name. Okay, so the cell name is actually divided by, if you put in the dollar sign in between the cell name, the E and the 1. Okay, so it's E and the dollar sign again and the 1. Okay, can you see that it's even selected? Okay, so then you press enter. The value is still the same, but now if you use out of your, okay, or let's just go to the next cell. Okay, so equal sign, open bracket, you select the value, multiplication, then you select the other one, you close, and you multiply. Now we need to tell the system that it should reference this as an absolute value. So it's the dollar sign, E1, dollar sign, and the 1, and then you press enter. Okay. So if we use autofill, mind you, it's going to give us different values. Okay. Can you see that if you check here in the formula bar, this value doesn't change. It does not change, but only this other one that changes. So this is, we are telling the system that this is an absolute value. So the system is just multiplying this with this value. It does not move away. It doesn't move like it goes here to these other cells here. So it stays here. So basically this is more or what absolute referencing is, or how it's calculated. So take note, guys, this is just an example. The rate, the value that you're referencing, that you're absolutely referencing, it's not always in E1. So it might change. It might even be here. It might be here. And then this becomes A14. Okay. So here in this case, so here it becomes what? A14. Can you see that it's even referencing A14 because you told the system, yeah, you made it clear that this is your absolute value. Okay, so it can be anywhere. It can be anywhere in your Excel sheet. Okay, so basically this is more, I mean, it's all about absolute cell referencing and relative cell referencing. Okay, so if you've got a question or any comment, any complaint, please don't hesitate to ask me on the Moodle platform, on the e-learning. Just post your question there, then I will respond to them. Okay. Thank you for watching, and see you again.